Everyone, you're welcome to my channel. So in this course we'll be looking into virtual private cloud, VPC in short. So the way I like to think about VPC or virtual private cloud is kind of a virtual data center. Our normal corporate data center that we sit over there in the cloud or AWS cloud environment. So where we can start provisioning resources on them. Your data center will comprise of your server, your routers, your switches, all those kind of stuff, all those physical hardware. So I like to think about VPC in such way. So VPC is a way AWS customers provision a logically isolated section of the Amazon Web Services cloud where they can launch their all their resources, AWS resources on it. So this virtual private network we are going to create is we are going to have a complete control over the virtual network environment, including selecting our own IP and also creating a subnet or a routing table and also a NAT gateway as well. So look at this pictorial diagram that we have here before we move into our AWS console to set up a VPC and set up a VPC environment. So we can see here now we have a region. So we have AWS region. Let me take this. This is our North Virginia region. Inside that region now, we now have VPC, our virtual private cloud that helps AWS to isolate different customers' environment. So on that VPC now, VPC is going to give us access to create a very large network. A network is basically just kind of a unique identifier of that VPC. Now, on that large network, we can cut out sub networks from that network. So that's what subnet means. Subnet. So we can see when you're provisioning your subnet, it's going to give you room to determine on which availability zone. Remember what availability zone means? We talked about that in our last class. So give us on which availability zone do you want to deploy this subnet. So that's how you see availability zone. So this subnet will be maybe availability zone A, availability zone B, and also availability zone C. So having said that, we're going to hop into our AWS console and see how we can set up this VPC. So I'm going to go to my AWS console. You can see it has been one of my frequently accessed resource. I'm going to click here on it, or I can simply type VPC here as well, and it will still bring me out that resource. I'll go to that service and click on it to give me an overview of all the VPC services that we'll have. I'm going to click on this VPC and I'll see all the VPC that I have. So by default, when you set up your AWS account, you're going to have a default VPC. So you can choose to make use of that VPC, or you can choose to create a new VPC if you wish to. So for this course, I'm going to set up a new VPC. I'm going to click on create VPC, then give it a name. Let me say this VPC will be, let me name it demo VPC. So we're still going to use this VPC later on in this course as we go on. So it's going to show me how did I want to assign this VPC. Do I want to assign it using IPAM, or do I want to manually assign this VPC? I'm going to choose manually assign this VPC. I'm going to use 10.0.0.0/24. So let me use /8 for example. Then I come here, it's going to ask me, this VPC, do you want it to contain IPv6, or I don't want it to contain IPv6, I just want only IPv4. Then the tenancy, how do you want my resources that will be deployed on the VPC is going to be deployed? Is it going to be a dedicated, or is it just going to be the default? Default is going to be a shared environment. So I'm going to leave it like that and click create. So it's saying that it doesn't support /8. So the lowest that we can use is /16. I'm going to use /16, which is okay. I'm going to click create this VPC. So my VPC has been created. If I click on your VPC, you're going to see those VPC also being created here. So see my tag name, demo VPC, see the other VPC that we have here, and see the one that we created here also. So I'm going to go ahead and provision a subnet small and cut out some subnets from this large network that we have. Don't worry about if you don't really understand about networking or these IP addresses, subnets. If it's strange to you, you can go check out my my video on subnetting also. So I'm going to click on subnets, and I'm going to see there are already existing subnets that is mapped to this other VPC that we have. You can see the ID is different from the other one I created, if you remember. So I'm going to create a subnet, cut out some subnets from the new VPC I created. It's going to give me which VPC do I want to create subnet for. I'm going to click the demo VPC. Then it's going to give me the CIDR. This is the CIDR. So I'm going to create a subnet, give it a name. Let me say this is let me give this guy sub A. Let me give it sub A, subnet A, and give it, let me just name it full, subnet A. It's going to ask me which availability zone I want to deploy this guy. I can choose no preference. It's going to automatically pick one for me, but I can use availability zone A. I like choosing manually so I can know where my subnets are being deployed to. It's going to ask me what CIDR do I want to deploy for this, create what amount of network that I want to cut out from this large network. I'm going to create 10.0.1.0 slash going to use /24. So I'm going to cut out this guy 10.0.1.0 /24. I'm going to click create, and it's going to create my subnet for me. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to create like 2. I'm going to choose the same VPC, and then I'm going to name this guy subnet B. The other one is subnet A. I'm going to choose a different availability zone from this guy. I'm going to choose availability zone B. Notice we can choose other availability zone here. We have C, D up to F. Then I'm going to name this guy 10.0.0.2.0 /24. The other one was 1.0. So notice I can even create more than one subnet at a go. I can even click one, add one more. Let's add one more here and name this guy subnet C, and they choose availability zone C. Then I'm going to name this guy 10.0.3.0 /24. Then click create to create the 2 subnets that we have here. So you can see, I'm going to remove these filters, and you see all my subnets being created. So look at my subnets here, subnet A. So you can see it's showing me that it's on this VPC, and it's by default, if you create a VPC, it's going to automatically create a routing table for you as well, and also a network access list. Don't worry about what all these things are. These are beyond the scope of this course. So if you want to really know more about how I get to cut up my subnet, you can check out this site, very good site, CIDR.SYZ. So you can check the number of valid IP address that we have there, the network mask, the net mask, the network ID, the broker's ID, and the count, all those things. You can check out those things here. So I'm going to click on this routing table, to see how this routing table, because all of them are sharing the same routing table. You can check out 1B. If I check out it, it's in the routing table. If I click on it, let me see what is on that routing table. So what routing table simply means is a way how those subnets are going to know where to forward the address to. Just look at it like your Google map. Before you go to anywhere, look at your Google map. Did I know this place? And oh, I know this place. I'm going to take this route. I'm going to take this route. I'm going to take left. I'm going to take right. So that's how routing table is. I like to think of it like a Google map, like your compass. So you can see I have my default. By default is going to create the subnet of the VPC for you, and the target is going to be local. Then right now, this routing table, all the subnets that is attached to this routing table will not have access to the internet. If you deploy your resources on this subnet, you can't reach any resource that is on the public, maybe Google, Facebook, Instagram, or all those kind of stuff. How are we going to do that? We are going to come here to this internet gateway. This is internet gateway that gives us access to internet. You can see by default, I have an internet gateway that is already attached to the default VPC. I'm going to create another internet gateway. I'm going to name this guy Demo Internet Gateway. Internet gateway. I'm going to create it, and once it's created, I'm going to go back to my internet gateway, and this can see the status is detached. It's not attached. Why this one that is already attached is showing attached? I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click attach to VPC. It's going to ask me which VPC. So note, you can only attach one internet gateway per VPC. You can see it's not showing me the other VPC because the other VPCs have already been attached to another internet gateway. So I'm going to click attached. So once it's been attached, now this internet gateway is being attached to the VPC. I can now link this internet gateway to my routing table. I'm going to go back to my routing table, and I believe this is the routing table. This is it, 1AB, that doesn't have internet gateway. If you look at this guy has internet gateway already. I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to click on edit route and click add route. So I'm going to use 0.0.0/0. What 0.0.0 means that forward any traffic to my internet gateway. It's going to ask me which one. I'm going to click Demo Internet Gateway, and I'm going to save. And all the resources that will be deployed on this guy now will have access to internet. So thank you guys for watching this video. Can you like, subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to see you on the next class where we'll talk about EC2 instance, how to set up EC2 instance, and also deploy resources on that instance, and also see how we can do something with it as well. Thank you, and see you in my next lecture.